What you're looking at here is the instrument panel on a Chevy Volt. This is a 2017, has 2,580 miles on it, and this is the Chevy Volt Premier. Has lane assist, parallel parking, and in my opinion it's a very, very nice vehicle. This thing lists for $40,995. Would I pay that much for it? No. But I picked it up in Ogden about a week ago, Ogden, Utah, and I drove it 1,300 miles. It had a 19-mile charge when I got it, and then I drove all the way on gas. And why did I choose the Volt V-O-L-T over the Bolt B-O-L-T? Because the Bolts are not available, or I haven't even seen one. I've only seen pictures of it. I'd prefer to have this is an electric vehicle because it has a gas engine, 1.5 liter, and it takes regular 87 octane fuel. Has an 8.9 gallon tank and gives you, well, you can't barely see it, but it's 21 mile range. But you can go supposedly up to 400 miles. The advantage to me having a gasoline generator versus a fully electric vehicle at this time, being that I'm in the northeast part of North Dakota, and the nearest big town, Grand Forks, is 75 miles from here. And this has a 54-mile electric range, which if you don't have your air conditioner on, you probably could go 54 miles. The disadvantage of having a Chevy Volt over a fully electric Bolt is that the Bolt, you can order a DC quick charge, and this has level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is what comes with the car, and that is a 120 volt plug-in, and you usually get 8 amps, so it takes 13 or 14 hours to charge. I've ordered a level 2 adapter, a charger, whatever you want to call it. It's really not a charger because the charger is built into the car, but it'll go 240 volts, and that will do it in 4.5 hours. So this is part of the instrumentation. It's quite cool. This thing right here tells you if I were to, I have the power on right now, and if I were to back up, which I don't want to do right now because I'm in my garage, but it would show you where the power is coming from. This is a generator part right here that goes to the electric motor, and this is a battery. You can see the battery is fully charged. And this is your charging status. You can go 8 amps. Whoop, gotta put that again. Okay. Or 12 amps. And I usually do it at 8 amps. But supposedly the 240 will do 12 and 12, 110 in each leg, so that's why I can do it in about a third the time than a normal level 1 charger will. My opinion of this car at $40,995, now I didn't pay that because there was an ad in the local media called KSL.com, which is a television station that runs ads, is that this car had hail damage on it, and that was the only thing that came out of Texas. And they bought like 30 some odd cars, and they had one Chevy Volt. And for our needs here is because we're so far from a charging station, and my first choice would be a Tesla because I did have until I bought this car a deposit on the Model 3, and that starts at $35,000. So, and the Chevy Bolt, I think that basically starts at $35,000. Of course, you'd want the DC fast charge unit, and that's a $750 extra charge. You definitely would want that. I wouldn't buy a car that was fully electric without a fast charger on it. to have level 1 and level 2, because that's a 60 amp or 60 kilowatt pack on the Bolt. This is 18 kilowatts, and that's why it only has a 54-mile range. But for where we are and where we are today, because I'm really into Powerwall. I have a solar system. I've had it set up for 2 years. It's producing 6,000 watts right now. So basically our electricity, if I do it during the day, will be free. Won't cost me anything to charge this little 18 kilowatt power pack up. And it wouldn't really cost me anything if I had a full-fledged electric car. But the disadvantage is we do a lot of traveling. As you can see, that I drove from Salt Lake, well, Ogden, to here, and I immediately, 4 hours later, had to go down to Omaha, Nebraska to run a part for my semi-truck. And that's why I put about 2,400 miles on this car in 2 days. I left Salt Lake last Thursday, got here Friday morning, and then I had to leave Friday afternoon, go to Omaha, and we got back the following day because my wife helped me drive because I was so tired. Because it's about 560 miles to Omaha from here. So anyway, to get you the review of this car, it just is a fantastically well-built car. As I say, I wouldn't have paid that $40,995 for this car because the hail damage, I basically got it for half price. It would be very hard. It was under $21,000 that I paid for this car. And that was an incredible deal for a fully electric car that has a gas generator, a gasoline generator on it. So the moving parts on this car are not like a fully electric car, which is like 20 moving parts. No, this is just like some people call this a plug-in hybrid. It's really not. It's a fully electric car, and the generator assists the electric motor. There's no there's a one speed just like a Tesla. The batteries have coolant in it, they have heating. Chevy has done an outstanding job with this car. But if I were to spend $40,000 on a car, it would be a used Tesla or the Model 3, and possibly the Chevy Bolt. That I like the idea of having all the dealers that Chevy has. Like we got 2 within 75 miles. I don't know where the closest Tesla dealer is, but I'm sure it's not in North Dakota. Probably Minneapolis, 500. Well, it's about 350 miles from here. So anyway, I just wanted to say that this is an outstanding car. Chevy has done a very good job with this car. Interior is very nice. Really can't show it to you because we're loaded up to go to Canada Day tomorrow with all my wife's all her kids and grandkids. They're going to be there. So I wanted to give thumbs up on this car. It is nice interiors, very comfortable. Is it worth the price? Well, I'm sure it cost Chevy a lot of money to build this car, but I think a better value would be the Bolt or the Model 3 whenever that comes out. I guess they're going to start building it starting tomorrow, which will be July 1st. So anyway, I'm going to give thumbs up. If you can see my thumb on this car, it's quite nice. It's probably worth the $40,995 because of how expensive it would be to build this car. But there are other options. I'd rather probably, if I had to spend that kind of money, I'd buy a used Model S. But we need to have something that has a range. There's no range anxiety with this car because you can stop at any filling station and keep on driving thousands of miles, all wherever you want to go. There's one thing that I found out that is really a neat little thing about this car that you should know. It's called the mode. I can't show it to you right now, but it's right here. And let me show you on the screen here. When you push the mode, it's going to, if you put it on that hold button right there and you push this little center button right here, it'll be on hold. And what that does, it turns off your electrical power and then you can run on your gasoline. Because the gasoline goes back and forth to your battery pack. And if you had to make a long trip, start off with a full battery charge and put it on hold. And then you can run on your gasoline. And when you get into a city, put it on normal, and then you can run on your electrical. I made that mistake when I left Salt Lake. I wish I'd known about it then, that hold button, because I'd rather have that battery reserve climbing up hills. Because when you climb up a hill, the generator goes to the battery for extra power. And you don't even notice the transition when you go from electrical to gasoline generator. It's just seamless. It is, as I say, this car is pretty phenomenal for us. And this is a 2017. Big thumbs up for Chevy building this car. I think it's a little pricey, but it is really a nice car. So I'm going to say, if somebody wanted to know if you wanted to buy a used Volt, I'd say yeah, it's a very, very nice car. And they made the transition in 2016. The ones before that, I understand, had to go on premium gasoline, and they had lower range. So the 2016 to the 2017, as this one is got a bigger battery pack, I guess, and it's just 87 octane regular gasoline. You need to put in nothing special. And another thing I wanted to show you too is if you go through the menu here, coolant temperature, follow distance, because it lets you know how close you are. And it does have accident avoidance collision, anti-collision little thing. If you get too close, it'll warn you and it'll actually start braking. A timer, your average speed, tire pressure. Now, just to give you a little warning on your tire pressure, when I got it with 33 pounds, it needs to be 36, and I like putting it 1 or 2 pounds over what they recommend. And let's see, another thing would be oil life. Had 100% when I got the car. Now it's down to 85%. And you need to change the oil. Some people only change the oil once every 2 years. If you live in a city, like I used to live in Salt Lake City, and I drove 14 miles to work, and we would probably only put gasoline in there when we wanted to go on a trip. That's the nice thing about this car. It could, if you live in a city, you rarely would use the gasoline. And I've heard of some people going 3 years without putting any gas in the car. And they warn you about that, to start your engine up, a gasoline engine up, and run it out, and not to let it sit in there too long, like over a year or so. But it's possible for people who live in these big cities. You might not ever use the gasoline generator in this thing. And the next thing would be total range, which is 371 miles at this point. I drove 75 miles, and 35 of that was on gasoline, so it was over 400 mile range. So, and I think that's the last one. Yeah, I'm going 0 miles an hour, and I'm facing west. Yeah, I've went 73 miles since I filled up. So anyway, thumbs up on this car. Here's a few examples of the hundreds of dings that are in this car. And it wiped out the whole car lot. Any car that was parked outside. And the darker the car, the worse it is. And that's why I got this car for $21,000.